So welcome back, student. So in the previous class we had developed the program that how to write records onto the file, and this was the code that we had typed, and we also made this code error free. So this is not a Spider IDE that I'm using. This is a simple Python idle that I'm using for today. So this was the code. We'll just go through it, what we did in the last class. So basically in the last class what we did is we had typed this particular code. We basically developed this particular program, and this is where the main program starts. So I'll just give a comment over here, that is main. So the main starts from here, and then we have the while loop straight away, and then there was this particular menu that we provided. Now this is the menu that will be provided to the user, and user will choose the option, that is roll number the option 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and accordingly to the option that the user has opted for, the particular action will take place. So we basically did the coding for the first option, that is entering the record. So entering record, so this was the choice that we are going to take from the user. I'll just highlight this, and then if a choice is equal to 1, if it is 1, then this is the code that we had wrote, and we're going to collect everything into the normal variables, and then we had actually defined a function, that is WriteRecord. So WriteRecord is basically a user defined function, and that's the definition of the function in front of you. And then we are actually collecting that data, and we are passing that as the argument, and the argument that we are passing is a list, as you can see over here. So that's the list in front of you, and make sure that everything into the list should be in string form. So basically the data should be in string form, and so the registration number was integer, roll number was integer, so I converted everything into the string. And then we also added the character, that is the delimiter character, that is a tilde sign. And you know now very well why do we actually have this character. And then that list and the name of the file. So there are two arguments that we are passing to the function. Then these particular arguments are received by this particular function over here. So L is going to receive that list. File name is basically going to receive the name of the file, and then we are opening the file provided what we had provided the value to the argument, and then we are straight away writing that particular data onto the file. So since this is I'm using a new IDE, I haven't actually run the program on this particular IDE. So let us just run this program and see that everything is okay or not, because I just copied the code and pasted this into a different directory so that I can use this particular IDE. I don't have that particular computer with me right now, so I'm using my laptop, and I don't have Spider over here, so I'm using the simple idle. So let us just run this code and see if everything is going fine or not, and then we will move forward. Unless and until whatever coding you have done, make sure that it is error free. Always do coding into modules. So do not ever type the entire code, that is a 1,000 line of code, and then try to run the code and then try to rectify the errors. It is going to give you a lot of trouble basically, because if you type 1,000 line of code and then you're trying to rectify the syntax errors, the runtime errors, then it is going to be a very tedious job. So always you kind of achieve a small task in your project, run that particular task, that particular module, and see that everything is fine. If there is any error in the program, syntax or runtime or logical, so get rid of that and then move on with your next step that you need to take in your project. So this is how the project development takes place. Always write your code in form of modules and functions. At this point we don't have any modules. Modules means we can create a separate file, and we can have the modules, the functions in that module, and then that module we can import. But at this point we are not going to create modules, we will only write functions, and then we will give a call to that function. So already we have written the data, that is the function for entering the record. So there is no syntax error. That's the code that is running in front of you. So let us enter the choice 1, and I say enter registration number 1, name that is Ajay, class is 10A. So I think everything is working fine as what I can see. And then let me just give the option, that is option 5, to exit the program. And then there is some error that is shown over here, is not defined. Okay, we will take care of this. That is file handler.close basically. So we are not actually using that now anymore. So I just need to get rid of this, because we are opening the file and closing the file in the function itself. As you can see over here, we are opening the file inside the function and then we are closing that particular file. So basically I need to give one more statement, that is file and handler dot close, and now this will solve the problem. So let us just open the file, that is test.dat basically, and see whether the data is properly written onto it or not. And that's the data in the text file. So everything is running fine with the code. And now since everything is been rectified, the syntax errors are not there, the runtime errors are also, now we just removed one runtime error, and the logical error also is not there. So everything is, the code is basically a clean code. So such a code we will call it as a clean code. So this is what we have done, and now we will move forward. That is, what we will do is we will be going for the second option, that is editing the record. Now students, before we move forward, let me tell you, all this that we are doing is we are doing it using the file handling. But let me tell you, already we have learned about DBMS, that is database management system. And in database management system we have done the same thing, like creating record, deleting records, fields, everything we have gone through that. Let me tell you, as far as these operations are concerned, that is the CRUD operation. If you can remember the CRUD operation, CRUD, CRUD. So C stands for create, R stands for reading, and U stands for update, and D stands for delete. So these are the basic operations, like creating the record, updating means editing the record, R was reading the record, U was updating the record, and D was deleting the record. So that's the CRUD operation. Okay, so normally for such a requirement we normally use a DBMS software. We don't use file handling. There was a time that when it was used, but we don't use that file handling anymore. But for such operation we use DBMS only. But still file handling is a very important part, since as I said, there is a huge amount of data and you need to extract data from to it. Then we require the file handling. But we are doing this operation, CRUD operation, using the simple file handling. But this is very, very important for you, so that in future the concept of file handling or any kind of file operation you can perform. And also the project will be based on the on file handling itself, so you can develop your project on file handling. So these are certain things I wanted to make clear to you. Also the syllabus has been revised a bit. There is a 30% reduction. I will discuss about this as I will myself first understand what exactly we have to take and which all things we have to do. So the revised syllabus, I will share it with you. So let us move forward, that is editing the record. Now we will write how to edit the record. Edit means updating the record. Already the record is present and now there are certain changes that we have to make to the record. How we can perform the operation, that is what we have to see. So we are definitely going to write one more function over here, that is function, that is a def, and I will say update record. So this is the new function. At this point I'm just going to use the pass keyword, which means there is no code. So this is just I have defined my function, and then this was choice 1, and if the user gives choice 2, then we have to do the coding. So I will go over here and I will say elif choice, if it is equal to 2, then what I will do, I will give a call to the function that was update record. But then we have to do a lot of things before we give a call to the function. And the thing is, we are supposed to ask for the registration number. Why? Because registration number is a kind of primary key for our, the kind of you can say the file in which we are storing the records. So registration number is acting like a primary key over here. So we will accept that registration number from the user, and then using this registration number we will find the record, and then we will accept new data for that particular record. So this is going to accept the registration number, and then what I will do is I will be checking if that registration number exists or not. Okay, now there are two things that we are doing over here. That is, we are going to write one more function to check if the record is present or not. So we will check record exist function, and this is going to take a parameter that is reg, that is a registration number. So one argument, one parameter it is going to take. And then what we can do is, okay, we can also pass the file name. If you want, you can do this, children, otherwise we can just ignore this and straight away we can use the file name itself. There is no need to again and again pass the same file name. So let us just directly use the file name. Okay, so I'll copy this and paste it over here, and straight away I will use the file name, that is test.dat, and I will simply open this file in read mode because I have to just check, just do certain reading. And then what I will do is I will read the first line, and the first line will be the first record, isn't it? There are various ways we can do it. We can also read the entire file in a list and then we can do the checking, or else we can just read line by line and then we can do the checking. So let us any way you can do it. So we will go by maybe by the reading line by line. Okay, so for that what we need to do is we need to read the line first before the while loop. So I will say line is equal to file handler dot, and that is what, read line method, and then I will say line over here. Now if this line is end of file, the while loop will break, otherwise the while loop will continue. Okay, we will just type the code, we will run it, and then we will see if it is running or not. So this particular function is only for checking the existence of a particular record depending on the registration number. Fine. Then what I will do is I will check the registration number whether it is present or not. Now how we are going to do that? So if this while loop goes true, then I'm going to use, that is L is equal to, and line, that is a string value, I'm going to use the split function, and the split function, the delimiter character that this time I'm going to give is the tilde character, isn't it? Because this is the character where using this character we have separated the fields of the record. And then L will have the first value. So what will L of 0 will have? L of 0 is basically going to have the registration number. Why? Because that's the first value, that is a registration number, then the tilde sign, then the roll number, name, class and section. So I have to simply say that if L of 0, if it is, now this is going to be a string form also, so please convert that into int first. This is very important, and then compare it with reg, that is the registration number. If it is present, then we will return a value that is true. We will return true. Okay, and let us give the else part to the while. Now what is the else part? If the entire loop will basically go for all the iterations, then the else part will get executed. And in the else part we are going to say else false. Now this concept should be very much clear. What is the else part of while? We have used that for loop also. We can do it for while loop also, because both are loops. Okay, and then I have to simply break. Acha, that's fine, return true. Okay, so this is the function that we have just developed to check the existence of a record. Okay, now what we will do is, as I said, we have just completed one function. So before going ahead and actually updating the record, all that coding, before we start writing the coding for that, we will check whether this particular function is working properly or not. That is what the checking we will do. So what I will do at this point, that I will just collect this registration number, and in spite of calling this function, that is update record, I will not call this function. I will simply call the function that is, what is the name? That is record exist. So record exist, and I will pass, that is reg. Okay, this is going to return some value. I will collect that into I, and then I will simply print I, and if that value I will have, okay, print I will have true. If it prints true, means the record exists in the particular file. If it is returning false, so that record does not exist. Also we have to check logically it is working properly or not. It is maybe possible that it is giving us true, but then the record does not exist in the file. Even that logical checking we have to do. So all this checking, children, goes on. Okay, when you are developing a software, small modules, syntax error, logical errors, and we have to check whether everything is working fine or not. Every aspect we have to look into. So that is what we have done. Now let us just run this program. Okay, and we will see. Okay, so edit record, that is option 2, and I will give registration number, that is 1. Why 1? Because the record exists for that. So I will give 1, and you can see that it has given the output that is true, which means okay, this is working fine. And now again what I will do is, again I will give a call, run the program again, and this time I will go for option 2, and this time I will give some other number which does not exist, and let us see the output for this. Okay, now the program has, I guess it has hanged a bit. It is not giving some output. Okay, So let us rectify the code now. So see, this happened, isn't it? We gave some one input and it was running fine, but then we checked for the other value and the code is not running fine. So when you are developing any project, any software, we have to test the entire software, and while you are developing the software, in the middle also you have to check whether everything is working fine or not. You have to give n number of inputs to your modules, to the functions, and check whether we are getting the right output or not. As you saw over here, we gave one input and the output, it was perfect. Then we gave another input and the loop wasn't breaking. Okay, so what went wrong in this code? And I will tell you what went wrong. The thing that went wrong was we are actually reading only one line over here. We have to again use this particular line of code inside the loop so that it reads the next line also. This is very, very important. So once I read, once I split that particular value, now I will read the next line. And now let us run this code so you can understand the process, and this is what happens if you are doing the live coding. Option 2, for 1 anyway it is working fine, and now let me just, I can again give the same option anyway. Okay, now let me just do it. That is option 2, and I'll give some other number, and this time you can see it has worked fine. That is false value. So now you can see, children, that when you're developing any software, it is very, very important for you to understand that there is no syntax error. So don't be happy. You have given few inputs, you got some right outputs, don't be happy. You have to give all kinds of possible inputs that can be given to the software. So you have to give all kinds of inputs, all possible inputs, and then check whether it is giving the right output or not. So this is the process, development process. This takes place all the way. Again I repeat, do not type a very long code of 100 lines, 200 lines, and then try to run the program and then try to rectify it. Don't do that. Type around 30-40 lines max to max, and then just test your code, or just complete one function. Once that function you have completed, then don't write the next function. First to check whether that function is running properly or not, just give certain inputs to the function and check whether that function is giving right output or not. Once that function is working perfectly fine, then move to the next function. So this is the thing that you have to take care of. And now you saw that everything is working fine. Now this particular function, we can always use this function just to check whether the record is present in the file or not. We have to simply give a call to this function, pass the registration value, and it will give us the answer. So this is how we have done this. Now comes the main part, that is updating the record. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to also accept the reg number, that is registration number, in this particular function. So one parameter this function is going to have, and we are going to open the test.dat file. So I'm not going to give that as a separate parameter. And now can you guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to open the file first, and I'm going to open that in A mode. Okay, or I can open this in R mode also. Okay, R mode. And what we are going to do is, let me just check, we might require one import a module called as system. Does it exist or not? Let me just check this. Or not system, I think it is, I just forgotten the module, that is OS I guess. Now let me just run this. Okay, so the module is OS. Okay, and we are going to make use of this module. Why? You'll come to know. Okay, now let us move further. That is okay, everything is fine. So basically I'm opening this file in read mode, and before giving the opening the file, let me just do one thing, and I will say if, just check this out. Okay, what I'm doing over here, if record exist, and then pass that value. Okay, and then I'm going to say if it is true, then I will open that next step comes, else this is going to give a print the message that record does not exist. मुझे लग रहा है थोड़ा कुछ बहुत लोगों के सर के ऊपर से जा रहा होगा थोड़ा, ठीक है, but then we have to do this for your project point of view. File handling will be also very much clear to you. Okay, so again I will repeat everything, do not worry. I know that few students might be finding this very difficult at this point. Okay, so and this particular program, children, I am going to make you available in a PDF file, and or I can also simply share this file, that is the py file, Python file. I can also share that with you, but I will share in a PDF form first. You type the code if you're not able to copy paste it, because that's very important. Otherwise copy pasting code and running the code, it's a very easy job. But as you can see, when you're developing a program yourself, जब आप खुद से वो बना रहे हो, then there are so many errors you come across, and these errors are actually very much required for you to be very good at it. Okay, if you don't get errors, you can never learn programming. Errors basically make you learn programming. Okay, so errors आने चाहिए और errors को निकालने की कोशिश आपको करते रहना है, so that the concept will become very much clear to you. This is very important. So at this point, this is what it is going to do. So what I'm doing over here is I'm going to give a call first to the function that record exists. अपडेट करने से पहले हम लोग को चेक करना है whether that record is existing or not. अगर वो record exist नहीं करता है, then there is no point of moving forward, and that is the reason why I have written a separate function. And now inside this update record I am giving a call to this function. So यहाँ से क्या होगा, if record exist, तो ये क्या है, बेसिकली ये एक फंक्शन कॉल है. ओके, ये एक फंक्शन कॉल है. आई विल गो वेरी स्लो, डू नॉट वरी. ये एक फंक्शन कॉल है, प्लीज अंडरस्टैंड दिस. एंड द फंक्शन कॉल, सो द कंट्रोलर विल जंप फ्रॉम हियर टू हियर, एंड देन दिस लाइन ऑफ कोड, ये पूरा जो कोड इसके अंदर हमने जो लिखा है वो एग्जीक्यूट होगा. एंड दिस फंक्शन इज गोइंग टू आइदर रिटर्न ट्रू और इट इज गोइंग टू रिटर्न फॉल्स. दो में से एक वैल्यू रिटर्न होगी. यहां से अगर रिटर्न ट्रू होता है, if it is returning true from here, what is going to happen? If it returns true, so where it is going to return the value? It is going to return the value at the place where the function is been called, isn't it? So we are giving a call over here. So this true value, suppose it's true, the record does exist, the value of true will get returned at the place where the function is getting called. So this will become true if true, isn't it? Because that where we have given the call, it will get replaced by the value true. If it is false, then the if statement will go false, and this is how it is working. Okay, so I hope now this is very much clear to you. So I said it is bit complicated for you to understand. So if it is true, then we will open the file. If it is false, it will print record does not exist. So if you want to just test this whether it is working fine or not, we can go ahead, and before going ahead we have to give a call. So over here, see, this is the choice 2. Now I will not give a call to record exist over here, because why is because I'm giving a call to the function under the update record function. So I will give a call to update record. So from here it is going to jump over to this particular function, and inside this I'm giving a call to record exist. From here it will jump over here, and either true or false value will return back to where it was been called. And then if it is true, this line of code will get executed. If it is false, then the message will be printed, record does not exist. Now we are yet to develop the update record code we are supposed to write. We have not yet done anything. Okay, so let us just run this and we will see if it is working fine or not. So let me just run this program and we will check it. And do not worry children, the program is there. I'm going to give you the program, just study it. तो फाइल हैंडलिंग का सारा कॉन्सेप्ट ही क्लियर हो जाएगा आपको. सिलेबस में हमारे पास फाइल हैंडलिंग है, ये फाइल हैंडलिंग सिलेबस से निकाला नहीं गया है. लेट मी जस्ट स्टडी दैट वेल syllabus and then I will share everything with you. Okay, but file handling is there. This is what I've seen. So now let me just do it. Edit record and I give 1 2 1 2. Can you guess the output for this particular value? There is only one record, that is with the registration number 1. If I give 1 2 1 2, are we going to get any output? We are going to get the output, and that is a error, isn't it? This is how to get the error, but errors are important for us. So let us just rectify this error first and then we will move forward. What went wrong over here is something went wrong. That is this one. Okay, print I. Now let us just run this. Value 2 1 2 1 2. And you can see it has given the output, that is record does not exist. Why we had this output is because there is no record with the registration number, that is 12121. There is no record with this particular number. And so what happened over here is that we gave a call to this particular function. This particular line of code got executed because we gave choice as 2. This particular line of code got executed. We collected the number in reg. We gave a call to this particular function. We passed that value, that is 12121, and it jumped to the function definition, that is over here. Then what is the first line of code in this particular function? That is if record exists. Again, this is a call to the function. From here it jumped to a new function, either true or false value. Since it was false, the false value got returned over here. So if false, so this became false, the if statement became false, and it went to the else part, and in the else part what got printed? That is record does not exist, and that's the output we had. So is it clear to everyone? And then what we have to do, children, we have to simply, if it is true, now if it is true, then we have to do the coding over here. And then what we are going to do is we are going to collect the same information other than the registration number. Rest all the things we are going to keep it as it is, and I will tell you, that is roll number. Though we never take inputs from the function, but still, otherwise we have to write one more function, and that is really going to make things very complicated. So I'll just do it in the function itself. So I'm going to open the file in R mode. Okay, why R mode? You will come to know. and then roll number, name, class and section. Registration number will be the same. Okay, rest of the details I collected. Fine. And then what we have to do is, okay, then what we have to do is we have to okay, we need a loop basically. Okay, so we need a loop, and then inside the loop we are going to navigate to every record, and we are going to navigate every record. Now what we need to do is, I will tell you what we are going to do, and then we will do the coding in the next class. Do not worry, because this is going to be too much for you if I really go on coding like this. But I will tell you what we will do. The plan is, we are going to read the records, all the records. Suppose I will show you the code, the file, that is test.dat. Okay, this is a Python file, so I will take all the files. Okay, and this is the file. Now suppose this is only one record. Now we will write some more other records, some more records into it. Suppose there are 10, 12 records. So we will, suppose this is registration number 1, and we have it in series like 1, 2, 3, 4, and there are 10 records. And suppose we are supposed to update the 5th record. Okay, so what we are going to do is, we are going to read the records from 1 to 4, and we are going to create a temporary file, and we are going to store all these records in that particular file, and then we will accept the new data for the 5th record also, and even that we are going to write in the temp file. And then we are going to, okay, this is going to be very complicated, children. Okay, I will just prepare a small graphical view for you, PPT, okay, in the next class. Do not worry, do not worry at all. And projects that you will be developing for this will be around 500 lines of code. So already you can see, if you really start coding, and we have this code over here, so it is around, how many lines of code is this? And in the next class, using that PPT, I will explain you what we are supposed to do not worry. And this line of code, this file, I will keep on sharing with you. Okay, so already a kind of a dummy project will be with you, do not worry. Okay, so in the next class, so we have kind of achieved many things today also, but we have to achieve update record. Okay, and for that also, again I say that we have to use the module. This is the OS module. Okay, we require this. Why do we require this? In the next class I will share it with you. Okay, so children, we'll meet tomorrow again, and then we will complete the code for the update record. Now there are few students, might be this is really difficult, but it is not so, it is easy. I will share the code, children, practice it. You need to practice this. Okay, once you type yourself, type the code, run it, and the things will be very much clear to you. And then I will give the projects. Okay, so we will meet in the next class. Bye for now, children.